I'm Callie Moss, the Developer Evangelism Director at DocuSign, and we're here in the DocuSign studio after hours. For today's deep dive video, I am sitting here with Joe Cocco, Senior Engineering Manager at DocuSign, and Joe leads our Olive Design System team. And we're going to talk to him a little bit today about that. So Joe, just to get us started off, what is Olive?
Yeah, so Olive is our design system, which is a set of visual standards and guidelines for building consistent front-end applications.
So what exactly, well, we've talked about what Olive is. How did the Olive project get started?
Yeah, it started off as just some CSS inside one of our projects, which was codenamed Martini. So I thought it was clever. Olive paired with Martini kind of made sense. And then other people started asking for it. And before I knew it, I was supporting it for multiple projects. I was asked if it was something I wanted to do full time, and I was really enjoying it. So I said yes. And then it just kind of blossomed into what's known as our design system today.
I know that it used to be built in Angular because that's what we were using for our web app, just using JavaScript. And now you're also doing React components. Can you talk to me a little bit about that evolution and maybe why?
Yeah, so Google has decided to stop supporting Angular 1 in the spring of 2021. So we had to make a decision. Do we go and upgrade to the latest version of Angular, or do we move to a different library like React or Vue? We decided to go with React. We really liked the community support behind it. We had a handful of developers who've worked with it before, and so that was what we decided to really embrace. We started off by rewriting the Angular component library in React. We ported over maybe 24 or so components. When that felt, oh God, I don't even know how many are in the Angular one at this point. Okay. It's got about 4.5 years worth of code in it, so a lot. But eventually we felt like that library, the React library, was in a good place. So we asked teams, anything new that you're going to build it with the React component library and start giving us feedback. That enabled us to fix some bugs, add a lot of new features. And now, about a year and some change after starting the React component library, we're at over 70 components. Oh, wow. And we have over 8 teams here now using it.
Awesome. So how about some examples of the types of components and packages that you guys build?
Sure. So when we started Olive, it really started to grow into what's known as a monolithic repository. Yeah. It contained everything, our iconography, our fonts. When we moved over to the React component library, we decided to split those up into smaller packages. So now we do have our own packages for icons, for fonts, for images. What that allows us to do is move a lot faster and release each of those things on their own cadence. Things become easier to maintain, easier to update, and then the developers don't have to wait as long when they just need a new icon. We're able to release that pretty much immediately.
That's awesome. So maybe we should take a look at the code. I would love to see some of these components and then maybe take a look at the build process. You know, how does this release work?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so what I'm showing you here is one of our build scripts for that icons package. And a few things that it does. It runs our SVGs through an optimizer. So it gets rid of a lot of the comments. It optimizes it. It makes the file a lot smaller. This way, it makes it a smaller package in the end.
And this is the build script?
This is the build script, correct. We also end up generating an icon font. So this is what a lot of our legacy applications use, an icon font. We need to continue supporting it. So again, this is part of the icon script instead of the component library. Another thing that we do is we take all of our SVGs and we export them into PNG for iOS to use. So previously, anytime the iOS team needed an icon, the designers would manually do this export. It was very time consuming. If an icon needed to be updated, the designer also had to do that. Now this whole process is automated. Our build script just takes these PNGs and it pushes it to a place that the iOS team can really easily go fetch and then use within their development.
So it's just faster for everyone.
It's a lot faster, yeah. And then one thing to note about this is this transformation is actually really process heavy and takes about 8 to 9 minutes. And when it was part of the old repository, our build times, our deploys were actually about 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. We were able to remove all of this and put it into its own repository. So the React component library actually, I think it takes about 6 minutes with tests and to make its way to NPM. And then the icons package is on its own.
And of course, all of these individual packages are on NPM. That's what we use. We've split them all up, right?
Yeah, so we began pushing things to a CDN early on, but there's really no sense in having to download an entire bundle when you only need maybe 5 of 20 components.
Right.
So in moving everything towards NPM, using modern JavaScript practices, you're able just to import what you need.
Awesome. Cool.
And then just showing how we consume these icons packages, we have a icon component in our React component library. We can import this SVG icons object from icons, and then we use it down here. Someone just passes in a key. We go and look at what that key is.
So this is what they're actually going to consume.
Right. So it will just end up inlining this SVG. So anytime any of these icons may get updated, it's just a matter of updating the version of icons that that team is using, and then they'll get that update. None of that has to get managed within their project.
Super easy for all the different teams that are using it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool. What's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
So currently we're working on a theming package, which will allow different teams to style components slightly different than maybe how the React component library offers them. And this is going to come really into play for our marketing site. Maybe their buttons just need to be slightly larger. Maybe they just need to use a slightly different color palette. Whatever that might be, in having theming in our components, they'll be able to do what they need to do. And then next up, I'm crossing my fingers, we're going to be able to start open sourcing some of this. Awesome. So we're going to start by maybe looking at some of our build scripts, some of our tools that we've built, and pushing those up on public GitHub. And then maybe one day, when everything is, the dust is settled, we'll look into taking our actual React component library and putting it up there as well.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Joe, for joining me to do this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was fun. And for you guys, join us next month where we're going to talk about another upcoming API here at DocuSign, ID Verify. So stay tuned.
If you liked that video, be sure to subscribe to our channel for the latest DocuSign developer content. If you want to see a specific topic in a future video, comment below. For everything else, visit the DocuSign Developer Center.